the first day of this 2-week refresher course come faculty development program in engineering, physical sciences and management. We now welcome amongst us our expert speaker, Professor M. Kasim, presently working at the AJK Mass Communication Research Center, Jamia Millia Islamia. Sir has been involved in planning and development of MOOCs. He is amongst the initial faculty members who were trained on IIT Bombay project on development of an indigenous MOOC platform of India, which finally led to the establishment of Swayam platform. He has also completed MOOCs on MOOCs program conducted by IIT Kharagpur. He is effective in creating awareness about MOOCs and has delivered talks on various aspects of MOOCs and content creation in many FDPs and workshops. His interests are in ICTs, media technologies and systems, MOOCs, e-learning, evolving new technology trends and their interdisciplinary applications. Professor Kasim has earlier worked with Doordarshan for over 20 years as Indian Broadcasting Engineer Service IES 1989 batch. He was a visiting researcher at STRL, NHK and has been trained at NHK. Recently, he has also worked as advisor broadcasting on deputation for 2 years with Telecom Regulatory Authority of India (TRAI), where he worked on regulatory oversight and formulation of regulations for broadcasting media sector in India. A life fellow of Broadcast Engineering Society India, the IET and member of IAMCR and ECREA, Sir holds BTech from AMU, MTech Communication from IIT Kanpur, and MA MCJ from Kurukshetra University. We welcome you amongst us today, sir. I request you to kindly initiate this session on MOOC, the next generation learning platform. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ritika. And thank you, Dr. Huda, Professor Huda, for inviting me for this talk, giving me another opportunity to interact with the participants. In fact, I feel that it is our combined responsibility to percolate MOOCs and e-learning to the lowest strata of the society and to people, faculty member or the learners aware of this. So I would straight away go to my presentation. Let me upload it.
Yes, sir, we can see it.
So, yeah, okay, thank you. Today's talk, or I'll say rather it is a discussion. Let us make it more interactive. It should not be one-sided, because the more you interact, the more new facets of MOOCs we come to know about. In the presentation, there will be only limited information. So the theme of the talk is MOOCs, the next generation learning platforms. You know, MOOCs are the buzzword, or we are discussing because of this COVID pandemic around us. It has become a very, very important. And there is a still misconception about MOOCs that since most of us have already either attended MOOCs or conducted MOOCs or designed courses or maybe recorded some lectures, a perception has built as if we know them very well. But when you try to enter into MOOCs territory, we find that there are many, many finer points. And sometimes if we don't know those points, we may find it difficult to explain MOOCs in our academic setting or even design them in a proper manner. So the focus of my talk is going to introduce you to various facets of MOOCs so that we are able to at least differentiate what is an online course and how MOOC is different from it, and whether we are going to create content for a MOOC or for an online course, is it going to be same approach, or will there be some difference or any kind of customization? So we'll also try to delve a bit more into MOOCs landscape to understand what are the broader types of MOOCs, how we can categorize them, and what are their key elements technologically, and what are the some issues and challenges, and some more thing about say Swayam platform, which is our indigenous MOOCs platform. Is my PT available to you? Are you able to see it? Is moving?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is
Okay,
perfectly
okay.
visible.
Okay. So I thought to start with today's discussion, let me first give you an overview of MOOCs, uh, just to apprise you where we stand today. There are 100 plus MOOC platforms across the world, and many very popular, some of them not so popular. And practically all top institutions of the world, including Ivy League universities in US and other countries, you even name them in QS or Times Higher Educational Ranking, they are offering MOOCs courses on these different platforms. These courses, maybe in thousands, are being offered in practically all disciplines, whether it is engineering, business, mathematics, arts, humanities, or even medicine and health. And different kind of courses. They may be academic courses, they may be skill-oriented courses, they may be training courses, they may be some specialization in latest and niche technological areas. So all gamut of academic learning or lifelong learning or personality development, all that is being covered by MOOCs today. So in totality, the broad figures before us, 100 million plus MOOCs learners. This is the figure of 2019, end of 2019, and 11,000 plus courses available over the MOOCs platforms, and 900 plus universities of the world providing MOOCs courses. And one important factor is the growth of MOOCs learners have been 20 million plus per annum till 2019. This situation would be much different in 2020 because of the COVID situation. A lot of thrust has been on MOOCs and e-learning, and I'll share some data at the end of the lecture on this, how we have contributed during COVID situation. So just to share the presentation outline with you, what I would like to cover in this presentation is a basic about how MOOCs came into existence. This is important for us to know because if we know the evolution process, we'll be able to appreciate the strengths and weaknesses of MOOCs in a better way. Then what are the some broader types of MOOCs and their architecture, and how we can develop a MOOC, and what are the challenges in running a MOOC. Then something about Swayam platform, because as a faculty member, we are now UGC and MHRD both mandate that we should go for designing MOOCs courses. Not only designing MOOC courses, but we should also adopt MOOC courses from Swayam platform and offer them to our students. Then some data on MOOCs, which will give us a broader perspective what all is happening around the world in the space of MOOCs. And finally, some QA. So to start with, we all know MOOCs are technology driven. Technology driven means if you have to create content for MOOCs, or if you have to design a MOOC, you need technical tools or technology tools for creating content. If you want to offer MOOC or if you have to deliver MOOC, it has to be delivered on a technology platform, like a MOOCs platform, because MOOCs platform, they develop a standardized template for creation of a MOOC, so it becomes easier for the faculty members or those who want to create MOOC to develop and run a MOOC on MOOCs platform. So technology, ICTs, they are the backbone of MOOCs. They are the inherent requirement for a MOOC. So we have seen unprecedented growth of ICTs over the recent years, different kind of media technologies. And these developments have impacted all facets of our lives, be it how we communicate, how we transact, how we interact with each other, and how we travel. Every aspect of our life has been deeply impacted by the technological developments, but particularly is ICTs. So education is also an area which has been hugely impacted by these technologies. So just to understand what have been the key technological interventions over recent years, or maybe last, say, 80 or 100 years, which have made significant changes in teaching, learning, or educational processes. I have tried to summarize here. Of course, there will be many more developments which are not listed here, but these I think have been crucial as far as technology is concerned. Going back to 1490s, the first major intervention was invention of moving printing press. Now, this brought a change that suddenly book or knowledge, which earlier used to be the privilege of selected few, it suddenly became available to all. It became in the hands of the learners. So suddenly access to knowledge amplified and multiplied because of this. Then in 20s, radio started becoming popular, and it brought another dimension, a radio in the classroom as a medium of instructions. Since radio has a limited capacity to deliver information, is only an oral medium, so it was used primarily for instructional or to convey some instruction to the teacher in the local classroom. So this became hugely popular in the United States, and later on several radio stations. Even today there are thousands of FM stations which operate under educational broadcast license in the US. India also radio stations started setting up in 20s. By 1920, there were 3 radio stations already operational in India. But as such, educational broadcasts were not being done from these stations. In 50s, another development happened. Television started becoming popular and accessible to the masses. So in India, it was introduced in 1959. So this brought another dimension in education system. Suddenly the instructor or teacher was brought to the doorstep of the learner. Then 60s, 80s, 90s, these were really very, very important years where development of computers or mainframes, then removable media, PCs, laptops, and they were assimilated into teaching, learning, educational processes. So access to resources, educational resources, that became hugely wider, and we could access educational content in a non-linear fashion at any time, which was not possible earlier. Around 2000, internet started percolating down to the society, and it became popular tool of communication. It brought another dimension of interactivity and non-linear access. or on-demand access to educational resources. So thereafter, another key development was social media. Somewhere around 2008, it started becoming popular, though it was Facebook was developed in 2004 itself, but it became a very important communication tools around 2008, and it brought another dimension of real-time communication, immediacy. Means like we interact in physical world, our interactions are synchronous and immediate. So social media also implemented or enabled those kind of features, and also anytime, anywhere access, collaboration. You could collaborate in a group, or you do a project in a class in a group. So those kind of features were enabled by social media. And now the new developments in virtual reality, augmented reality, these are expected to reform, or rather transform, our educational processes. It is expected that these tools will be very, very important in educational setting, because these media tools are very rich. In media theories, it is said that if a media is able to communicate very effectively, that media is constituted to be very rich media, like visual media is rich media as compared to oral media. So virtual tools, virtual media is expected to be very, very rich as far as information or knowledge transfer is considered. So in future, it is expected that these tools will be used. And the next thing which people are talking about is AI-enabled teaching. 21st century education is going to be transformed by AI. We'll discuss it towards the end of the lecture. Now, these developments, how they have impacted our educational process is very difficult to summarize here in 2 hours. But what I try to do is, we have two key verticals of education. One is distance education. So it started with physical delivery of learning resources or educational resources, then postal delivery, and then with the development of computers, CDs, tapes, all that, electronic storage and delivery. With internet, it became online courses, and now it is fully web-based storage and delivery of the content and courses. If we look at has been happening within the classroom, so radio and TV, they were incorporated as a linear delivery medium of educational content, because they are a one-way broadcast. There is no interactivity. With computers, PCs, it was converted to non-linear delivery. And then our classroom became blended classrooms, where content from electronic means and content of the face-to-face classroom, they were consumed simultaneously. And with the advent of internet and online courses, it became flipped classroom, where the same course is available online as well as in face-to-face mode. So these kind of courses or offerings have a lot of advantages. IITB uses this kind of approach for their computer science course, where number of students is very, very large, because every student in first time has to do this course. So the course is also available on edX, and students can first do the lecture on online or MOOCs or edX platform. The same lecture is repeated in the classroom. So it gives the instructor a fairly good idea about the student profile, who are the average, who are below average, who are above average. And then he can he or she can restructure the class according to the needs of different learners. He can push below the average students up, and he can give advanced training or learning materials to those who are much above the average. So, kind of benefits are there. Now, virtual classrooms, where with the introduction of virtual reality tools, where in the class you don't have physical presence, but your avatars will be there. The students will be in avatar form, and teacher also. They interact in virtual classroom, conduct the class. Many of you might have heard the convocation IIT Bombay did. The students received, virtual avatars received the degrees in the convocation. But these avatars were not truly reflective of the individual student. In future, the avatars are going to take more and more realistic shape. So, MOOCs, as we know, they came somewhere around 2011. So MOOCs employ the strengths of all these technologies. They exploit the strengths of all these technologies. Therefore, they are one of the very, very strong medium of delivering educational content. A little bit about how MOOCs evolved, because this is very interesting to know the history. It gives us an idea what a MOOC is. So there were two researchers from Canada, Stephen Dawins and George Siemens. They thought of an idea of network learning. Network learning is an area where learning is measured by formation of the networks or connections between the neurons in our brain. You know, our brain is composed of billions of neurons, and these neurons, they form connections with one another. So network learning believes that more is the formation of connections, the more is the learning. So with this concept, what they thought of a project, they said in present day world, we have all network devices, our mobile phones, laptops, and computers, and we are connected to other students, teachers, educational resources, libraries, Wikipedia. So all these, there is a similarity between the modern day connectivity and how the connectivity or connections are happening within the brain. So they wanted to explore whether this kind of digital environment, if it is used for learning, will result in a real learning. The question before them was that in traditional classroom, we know as the number of learners goes up, the learning outcomes go. There's an inverse relationship here with the number of learners and learning outcome. Learners, particularly when they are in hundreds or thousands or more than that. So they wanted to explore whether in digital connected world where we are connected for learning and educational purpose, will it result in a better learning outcomes? So what they did, they designed a course, Connectivism and Connective Knowledge, and a broad outline of this course was designed, and the learners were enrolled for this course, and they were given some time, 6 months, to explore this course, discuss this course, and bring insights into this topic. So what they found after the project was completed, that there were some 60,000 plus learners in this project. There several groups were formed, and each group started discussing new topic related to this subject, and many of them, they brought in new kind of knowledge which was not earlier. They developed new things together, and ultimately they found that yes, it resulted in definitely positive learning outcomes. So that was the genesis of MOOCs, and these two gentlemen researchers, they were interviewed by David Cormier for a radio program where he first used the term MOOC for their project, Massive Open Online Course. And since then it became as a standard. Now, it is very interesting. This experiment happened in 2011, and 11 itself, two professors from Stanford University, Professor Sebastian Thun and Professor Andrew Ng, they were teaching artificial intelligence and machine learning courses in the campus, and both these courses were in very demand. So they decided to open these two courses to any student across the globe. They just opened their classroom courses to everybody. And in one course, artificial intelligence, more than 160,000 students registered. Here also 1 lakh plus student registered for machine learning. And they conducted the course just like they used to conduct in the class. It was made available online also. And at the end of the course, they found that these are the new means or new tools to provide access to best education to large number of students. And the learning outcomes are definitely much more as compared to traditional face-to-face teaching. In 2012, Professor Sebastian, he established Coursera platform, and Professor Andrew Ng, he established No Labs, which later became Udacity, which is a very popular MOOCs platform today. And then Harvard and MIT, they established edX, UK established FutureLearn, and so many MOOCs platform emerged in 2012. 2012 was also declared Year of MOOCs by Financial Times. And by 2019, as I shared in the beginning, we have 900 plus universities, 11,000 courses, and 100 million plus MOOCs learners. So the point to share this slide with you is 2011 is not a very far or very distant year. We are just 8 years away from the year when MOOCs were initiated or developed. And within 8 years, we have made significant progress. But this area is still under, I would say, under experimental stage. New experiments are being done, new formats are being evolved, and new methods are being evolved. The efficacy of MOOCs is being examined, being improved. So still we are in experimental stage with so much significant development. Now, quickly, what is MOOC? Many of us might already be familiar with these 4 keywords: massive, open, online course. What is massive? It relates to the number of learners. So how massive it can be? Few hundreds, thousands, or several of thousands. So a true MOOC, which is a real MOOC, is characterized by the scale of learners. It has to be in hundreds of thousands. Even if we see very popular MOOCs on edX or Coursera today, there will be 100,000 plus learners in each course. So another, open. What does it mean? Are there any restrictions? Is it free or paid? Is there any eligibility? Whether any entrance test is conducted? So this is related to the accessibility. The course should be accessible to all, one and all, whosoever decides to undergo the course. So a true MOOC will be characterized by scale, accessibility, and online means connectivity. Now, this is an essential requirement for a MOOC, real-time connectivity, because we have to implement interactions between the students, between the student and the instructor, just like the interaction that happened in the class. So availability, a real-time availability of connectivity is also very essential. And then course can be any course: academic, credit, non-credit, knowledge enhancement, enrichment, training, skill development. So it relates to customization of a MOOC for a particular specific purpose. So Swayam defines MOOC as a 3 A's philosophy. It should be accessible to anyone, anytime, and anywhere. What are the broad categories of MOOCs? The first type of MOOCs are known as CMOOCs or connectivist MOOC. Now, this kind of MOOC, here the learners, they use digital platforms as a means to form or make connections, and they create and construct knowledge. So these are not very structured, they are unstructured, they are good for knowledge exploration and focus on scale number of learners. So in these kind of MOOCs, you will find that the participant has a dual role. He is an instructor as well as a learner. Instructor because he is bringing in new kind of knowledge and new things to the course. So here the course will not be well defined. It will be open. Some will be defined by teacher, other will be created by the learners. So here the content is continuously generated by online community and shared with others in open manner. See, example of this kind of MOOC is the network learning experiment, which was done by Stephen Dawkins. And the other kind of MOOC is XMOOCs. These are very, very popular MOOCs. X refers to extended MOOCs, or we can also call it customized MOOCs. So the MOOC is customized for any specific purpose or any particular requirement. So here the characteristics of a true MOOC will not be fulfilled. All characteristics will not be fulfilled in this case. So these courses are more structured in nature, adapted to a specific requirement, and these courses focus on knowledge duplication or transfer. So knowledge duplication or transfer means the teacher has to decide what kind of knowledge needs to be communicated to the learners. So there is not a flexibility to deviate from that. It's like a syllabus and convert it to a MOOC. They are managed, mediated, and instructor-centric approach is followed here. So all university courses, skill development courses, they mostly run like a classroom course, may also be on-demand course. And you will find that on MOOCs platforms, they will be identified as by a suffix X, like MIT X, Harvard X, IIT BX, and the name of the course. So this X indicates that it's a customized MOOC. Another category of MOOCs is hybrid MOOCs. Now, hybrid MOOCs try to benefit from the strengths of C MOOCs and X MOOCs. So here the participants, they introduce and create new resources, as well as there are resources created by the teacher. So the focus in these type of MOOCs is knowledge transfer as well as knowledge creation. So it's basically to benefit from the strengths of both kind of MOOCs. And now let us try to discuss a bit about what a MOOC comprises of. What are the key layers or key elements of a MOOC? So a MOOC can be divided into 6 basic layers. The first layer is educational resources. So most of us being academician, we are familiar with what is meant by educational resources. Whatever we teach in our classroom, whether it is lecture notes or whatever you write on the board, whatever you speak, everything which you communicate to the students, you give them some printouts, some research papers, that becomes your educational resources. Only difference is in a MOOC, all those things need to be converted into digital form. For example, your lecture itself would be required to be converted to a digital form. Maybe you record a video or create another video by different approaches. We'll discuss those things later. So educational resources, everything related to our class, which we want to communicate to the learners. Then interactions. This is very important part of MOOCs, and it sometimes makes MOOCs different from online courses. Interaction is how we are implementing the say QA in a class or discussions in a class on online platform. So social media, which provides real-time interactive tools, is one way to implement interactions. The third layer is assessment and evaluation. So in a class, you do all kinds of quiz, maybe assignments, or whatever methodology you follow to assess the students, to monitor their progress. Same things would be needed to be implemented on the digital platform. This is very critical to do in digital domain because there are a lot of issues related to who is doing the course, who is appearing for the test, who is writing the assignments. So several issues are there. Those are dealt by identity management. The authenticity or identity of the learner is ensured. Now here, most of the free online MOOCs courses, they follow honor code practice where the learner has to sign a honor code and declare that he will honor the ethics and rules for conducting or appearing in this course. Sorry. So the next layer is learning analytics. This is very important layer in MOOCs. In fact, this layer gives us a lot of insights into the course, lectures, or whatever we have designed, whether it is being really used by the learners, in what it is being used. For example, there is a video lecture, so whether the learner is watching it completely in one go, whether he is skipping it after some time. This gives us an idea whether it is a difficult to comprehend or the level of lecture needs to be revisited. So those kind of insights we get through learning analytics. Another big area which is enabled by analytics is that we get a data of massive big data, which is a big tool to conduct educational research, like what should be your length of video lecture. This is a very important to know that our human span is not more than 15 minutes or so. So all our video lectures should probably not exceed this duration. This is evident if you go to edX or Coursera and you enroll for any popular course. The video lectures there won't be more than 8 or 10 minutes longer. Even you will find some lectures 5 minute or 4 minute. So what they do, a 40-minute lecture or 1 hour lecture is broken down into different elements, learning elements or learning objects. And according to each object, a few object, a video is created. It's not a one-go lecture for 1 hour. So these kind of insights, on through the data, we get a lot of insights. Like MOOC indicate that most of the learners they already have some degree. Earlier, it was assumed that MOOCs can be a very good tool to spread education to those who don't have access. But the data shows that the learners are mostly already having an educational qualification or degrees. So several new insights can be obtained from this data which we get. And the top layer is certification. What kind of certificate you are going to award, whether your institute will award it, whether the faculty member who is conducting the MOOC will award it. There are issues like dilution of the brand, etc. If MIT starts awarding certificate to 1 lakh students, so the brand value of the institute may be affected. So different kind of issues are there in certification. So MOOC is an organized online event where these 6 layers are required to be implemented. The it is an educational online event, is equal to conducting a face-to-face course in a class, and it runs over a MOOCs period. And now the class period or a course in our case runs for a semester, say 15 weeks. But in case of MOOCs, 15 weeks attention from a learner is very, very difficult to expect. So most of the MOOCs, they have 4 weeks or 5 weeks of duration. And per week, the workload will also be 4 to 5 hours, not more than that. So it involves carrying out and management of activities related to MOOC event. So in nutshell, this is MOOC. So interactions we have already discussed. It's very, very difficult to implement the interactions, even if you have tools to implement real-time interactions because of the large number of participants. You can't manage the discussion forums, you can't manage the chat groups. So what is done is a number of TAs are employed, or offline discussions are held, then or the students are asked to submit their questions, then they are grouped and the instructor may try to attempt them in a real time by fixing some schedule where all the students can log in. There is also a concept of offline interactions, like if you are registering on Coursera, so Coursera platform can come to know that you are from Noida, Delhi, so how many students are registered from Noida, and who are the people who have already done this course from Coursera who stay in Noida. So the platform can itself connect all these peoples together for offline interactions. So those kind of possibilities to interact with peer group or to get assistance from peer groups are also available or implemented. So we discussed this. So in Indian context, there are some challenges in MOOCs, like digital divide. Of course, this is also applicable to other countries. So access to digital tools, internet, online connectivity is a big issue. Then we have a linguistic diversity. We have 22 languages across the country. So if you design a course in English or maybe Hindi, so it is not accessible to other people from other languages or students coming from other languages. So these are typical issues related to Indian context. So we have just summed up what MOOCs are, how they evolved, what is the structure of a MOOC, and some key issues related to MOOCs. Now, what I do in every FDP, I conduct a very small survey about MOOCs, how the teachers they perceive MOOCs and what are their opinion about that. So I have here the link. What I will do, I will paste this link in the chat box, and you kindly complete this survey. It will take only a minutes, and this will give us a break or to refresh also. So this is, I go to chat.
Participants are kindly requested to take the survey.
So how do I go to chat?
So chat window ऊपर आपको message में दिखेगा.
एक minute, ma'am. Yeah, thank you. So to everyone, and I posted it here. So you can just click on the link or copy it and paste it in your browser. It will open and take you to the survey.
All participants are kindly requested to take the survey.
So right now my presentation is visible to you, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, it is reporting an error that the form is no longer accepting surveys.
No,
yes, sir. The same problem is here also.
I have opened it. Just now I have opened it.
No, the survey is no longer accepting responses.
Okay. Please now do it again. I have opened it.
Yeah, now it's okay.
Try again. Sir has activated the form.
Yes, it is okay, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So there are 6 or 7 questions just to know what we feel about MOOCs. That's it. So are you able to submit it or do it?
Yes, sir. Now it is working.
Okay, okay. So it will take 2-3 minutes. So this gives us time to refresh and.
Yes. To what percentage the credits of the program enrolled by a student? सर्वे म्हणजे तसं नाही होय, त्यांनी सांगायला
I request participants to kindly mute themselves.
Yeah, you are leaking the answers.
It is a normal protocol that participants, when you want to speak, unmute, speak, and then again mute it. The way we lift a mobile phone, connect number, talk, and then disconnect it. So if you keep unmuted every time, many of your private and confidential matters will get public in amongst all the audience. So please follow this protocol. Thank you so much.
I think many participants are already through, sir.
So how many participants are there? Any idea?
We have almost 30 participants.
So only 5 have submitted because I am getting real-time data.
Yes, sir. Maybe the others are still submitting.
So just submit it is not an exam, or this is not going to be reflected in your FDP assessment. This is my requirement because after I collect a significant data of teachers, then probably we'll discuss with Professor Huda. We can write a paper and even send the findings to the ministry that look, these are the issues where we need to focus more. So please submit it. Nothing to do with your FDP evaluation or assessment.
We can write a paper, publish it in IndiaCom.
Yeah, sure. We can
go to IEEE Explore, and then the recommendation can be sent to the Ministry of Education.
Yeah, sure. That can be. Yeah, that can be done.
So Hena ma'am, try reopening the link. It is working perfectly now.
So 12 responses have come. Is still 18 to come. So please try to do it fast, then we'll resume the lecture because we are also would like to do it within the time schedule. So please submit it quickly. So ma'am, I think meanwhile I can go to the lecture. Let others do it at their convenience.
Yes, sir, you may continue because I think a few had an issue with the opening of the form. Maybe their network issue was there.
Okay, so we can repaste the link if required in the
Sir, I'll do that.
yeah, in the chat. I can paste the link again. So let us share feelings about educational resources, because these are the actual part where a teacher or a faculty member would be involved to create educational resources for his or her MOOC or online course. Broadly, we can categorize educational resources in two categories: teacher-centric or instructor-centric or student-centric materials. So student-centric means books, papers, reference materials, online resources, self-study materials, etc. Not very difficult to arrange or manage. Instructor-led materials, yes, these are most challenging, because whatever materials you use in the class, in addition to that, the lecture which you deliver in the class, you have to capture it digitally or convert it into a digital format and provide it online through the MOOCs platform. So it can be, you can do a simple video recording, audio lecture, or you can make use of multimedia, animation, whatever it is. So this is the most important part or challenging part of creating educational resources. Now, instructor-led materials, converting the classroom activities to online resources. So everything you do in the classroom in context teaching your subject is to be converted into a digital format, or in a digital, it is to be transformed digitally so that it could be delivered online over the platform. So this coverage or this conversion from classroom activities to digital format, how best you are able to do it, that will decide effectiveness of your MOOCs, or how best it has been designed, will rest on how best you are able to convert these things into digital form. Another important thing here is, in classroom, you have a lot of personal bonding, which can bring behavioral change in the students. So in online or MOOCs, these things are missing or very, very difficult to implement. So what innovative way you can think of to introduce some personal bonding with the learners, so that you could also bring some behavioral change in the learners in addition to knowledge transfer. But mostly the focus remains on transfer of knowledge. whatever knowledge you want to duplicate on the MOOCs and transfer to the learners, they should be very, very effective. So your focus should be that. The problems in a MOOC in designing educational resources emerge from the learners' diversity. Now, in a class, you have 30, 40, or not more than 50, 60 students, and they come from, they have more or less homogeneous background, at least in context with predefined learning levels or whatever degrees they did or eligibility. So some homogeneity is there. Whereas in case of MOOCs, if it is a true MOOC open to anyone who is interested to do it, there is a lot of diversity. Also, within the learners, there are some learners who have aptitude for visual learning, who can learn more visually, who can learn, there may be learners who can learn more from activities, practicals, demonstrations. There are slow learners, fast learners. What kind of a workload should be there? This varies learner to learner. What course plan should be there, what progression should be there, duration of the course, all these issues planning your course as a MOOC. Then you need to ask these questions. What is the objective of designing this MOOC? If it is open MOOC, of course, Swayam MOOCs we'll discuss later are designed as per certain template. So many of the questions that get eliminated when we go to Swayam. So for whom it is being designed, what are the expected learning outcomes? Is it skill oriented, application oriented, behavior, critical thinking, what we want to try to achieve from this course? What learning model and instructional design model we propose to use, because different type of learners, different learning theories, different type of instructional design model, how to divide your lecture into learning objects, small learning objects, that needs to be looked into. Most important thing for us as a teacher is to decide what digital format we need to use. Now, digital format means if you are converting your lecture to digital form or transforming it to digital form, you can make use of text, you can make use of audio only, you can have audio visual, you can make use of multimedia or some augmented reality, etc. So this is very important. For example, there can be a very good lecture even simply with a slideshow and superimposed audio over it. I've attended many lectures or seen many lectures on SlideShare where the concept or the learning can be very effective just by using your slides with a voiceover. You can go for a video recording. So here what is important is media language. What media language you want to use for your lecture. For example, if you want to use audio, so you need to treat your text or your what you want to convey through audio will be different what you want to convey through video, because in video visual language is also there. So radio, TV or audio, video, multimedia, all these are different forms of language. So our focus should be that are we really using this language? If you see lectures on, say, even CEC lectures, sometimes you'll find that the presenter or the expert is sitting on the table and presenting it. So if you do a media language test, means you switch off the video and listen to the audio part only, does it make any difference? If it doesn't make any difference, that means visual language is not being used for communication. Same is applicable. You switch off the audio, see the video only. You can come to know whether visual is communicating anything at all to you or not. So I often quote the example of, say, cricket match or hockey match being covered on radio and television. What they convey on radio and what the commentator conveys on television is entirely different, because in TV there are two languages, in radio is one language. So the visuals also need to be communicated through radio. So those kind of thinking and issues are important. Now, most important part which we do in designing a MOOC or online lecture is converting our lecture to video. Video is the mostly used format. So how you can create the video? The simplest thing is chalk and talk. You are giving lecture in the class, just set up a camera and record it. These are also very effective, like NPTEL started with this only, and their lectures became very, very popular with the engineering students. Another approach is sage on a stage, like the expert is sitting on a table, in front of him or her there's a camera, and he or she is reading from the teleprompter, delivering talk. In between, some slides are inserted. But in this kind of format, the visual language is not really being used. It doesn't make any difference whether the expert is sitting there or not sitting there. Then in a video lecture, a self versus content projection, for how much time you should be in the video, because your focus is transfer of knowledge, transfer of content. So more focus should always be on content and highlighting the content and transferring the knowledge through the content. A single or multiple instructor, there can be more than one instructor. It is not necessary for 1 hour or half an hour, only one instructor is there. There can be, the lecture can be in the form of a discussion. It can be in the form of question answer between 3-4 experts. So you need to innovate how I need to convert the lecture or the content which I want to communicate to learners. What is the best way or what is the balanced approach to do it? Another area which you need to focus is scripting for a video lecture. This is very, very important. Because being academicians, we always tend to write research-oriented or academic-oriented papers. So if you are given a topic, you write on, say, semiconductors. So the way you will write will be more related to how it is written in books or research papers, or that will be the approach. But for a video lecture, you need not to write like that, because it is not going to be printed in a book or journal or somewhere. The language for a video lecture should be a communicative language, which is entirely different from academic writing. So this communicative language means now you are using visual language, video as a language, and audio is supplementing that. So what should be that audio you need to think of? For example, in a class, how we talk if we want to convey certain ideas to a student. It is not we read like a research paper in the class. We simplify it in a way that it is easily understood by the students, and it is communicated in a much effective way. So same approach should also be followed for script writing for a video. Here, most of the faculty members, they make a mistake. They will write a 3,000 research paper for a video topic or video lecture, and then you read it, and it doesn't convey much to the learner. Also, you need to focus on seeking the attention of this happens mostly, but in an online lecture, you need to do efforts to seek attention of the learners. So how to involve them in your lecture, maybe storytelling style, or how to explain the concepts. It should be an interesting way of presentation. Then maximize retention. This is very important. When you write a video lecture of say 1 hour, uh, then your focus should be identifying at least 10, 8 to 10 key takeaways from your lecture, which should be at least guaranteed that after seeing your lecture, the learner should at least remember those 8 or 10 things. This should be a takeaway for him. So you will have to identify those things. You will have to focus specifically. Maybe be repeating those few things in your lecture so that it hits like a bullet in bullet theory we have in communication. It hits the learner and it sets into his mind, and he is able to learn from the lecture. So for this, several things can be done, like use metaphors, use different kind of innovation. For example, in school days, we used to, teacher told us with your board mass. I still remember these, and you can do your brackets and tell the colors of spectrum, white light spectrum, even today, like Fleming's right hand rule for generators, left hand rule for motors. So these are kind of things which the learners can easily grasp, and they are least likely to forget. So such elements need to be added to our video lecture. Then designing a MOOC. Now, once we have decided our objectives, for whom, for what purpose, and then you need basic ideas from these 4 domains. Of course, subject expertise is your domain, so this is not a big issue. Some exposure to learning theories, different kind of learners, and how to balance their requirement in our lecture. So adequate focus on text, maybe video, maybe on audio, maybe some activities, and instructional design models and approaches, how to break your lecture into those smaller learning objects and focus on them and design them as per these models and theories. And then something about media communication theories, like how to communicate what you want to transfer to the learners. So this becomes the gamut for designing a MOOC. But it's not very much required that you should be expert of these 3 domains in addition to your subject experts. But a little knowledge of these 3 areas will help you to create a much, much better MOOC. Now, how to plan an academic MOOC. Now, I'm using the term academic MOOC because MOOCs are what we discussed, something different. A true MOOC is something different. So academic MOOC is like a course, 4 credit course, which we teach in a class, and we want to convert it into MOOC. So that becomes an academic MOOC. So in an academic MOOC, there are several restrictions and several simplifications. For example, you already have course objective, you already have course outcomes, you have a well-defined syllabus for the course, credit, duration, 1 semester, you have a teaching plan, you have the pedagogy already, because you are teaching that course, schedule of activities, timetable, the practicals, the demonstrations, the interactions with the students. So many things you already know and it's already done. Execution of that teaching plan, lectures, tutorials, practicals, maybe visit to some field visit to industry or equipment demonstration, self-reading, educational resources, all these are used in the classroom. Monitoring, assessment, test, quiz, presentation, this is used in the classroom. Final exams and certification. So traditionally, this happens within a classroom. What is required to be done for a MOOC is we have to convert this into a digital form so that it could be uploaded on a MOOCs platform and could be delivered through that platform to the learners. So this transformation, this translation is creation of a transforming academic course into a MOOC. And for these various activities, you will use various tools as provided either on the MOOCs platform, because these platforms, MOOCs platforms, have dedicated tools for designing quiz or a different kind of requirements that they enable to the teachers that they can design those activities easily using their platform. So this adaptation from physical class to digital form of the activities, this is the requirement which we need to do to design a good MOOC. It is not merely recording your video lecture. Video lecture may be very good, but if other things are missing, the MOOC won't be able to convey what you want to transfer to the learners. So in totality, in a broader way, the more effective this translation or transformation is, the better your MOOC is going to be. So that was about MOOCs and how we can design MOOCs. Now, coming to SWAYAM, SWAYAM is our indigenous MOOC platform developed by MHRD. Probably it was developed with the help of Microsoft. So SWAYAM is a portal where right from school to undergraduate, postgraduate, engineering, law, different disciplines and all professionals and lifelong learning courses will be available on this platform. So the structure of SWAYAM is they have some 8 or 9 national coordinators who deal a particular discipline or area. So those who are desiring to make MOOC, say in technical stream, is controlled by AICT. CEC looks after UG and PG non-technical courses. IGNOU looks after distance education courses, and management by IMB. NCRT looks after school education related courses. NTTR, NPTEL, and UGC. These are the national coordinators. So depending upon your area of expertise, you can approach the agency for a MOOC. They notify the requirements of MOOCs, in which area, in which subject they want to create MOOCs that is advertised. Also, if you have some innovative MOOC, you can always approach them, and I'm sure it will be accepted by the nodal agencies. So, what SWAYAM is a simplified MOOCs platform. By the lecture till now, it gives an impression that it may be very difficult to create a MOOC for a teacher. But it's not so. What SWAYAM has done, they have a very simplified design or requirement for their courses. They have divided each course into 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 is instructor-led materials, where your video lecture and other innovative things will come. Quadrant 2 is self-learning materials. These are student-centric materials. So here there is not a big issue. Quadrant 3 is interactions and discussions. This can also be easily implemented with the tools available on the platform. And Quadrant 4 is assessment. This is also, you need not to do anything. NTA, National Testing Agency, that conducts the exam for MOOCs. Those are offered on SWAYAM. And you just have to give them your question paper, etc. Now, this Quadrant 1 is most important, where you design your lectures. So they can be video lectures, and what kind of approach you are using to design the lecture. And you can have some quizzes, assignments, interactive elements also. So even for the video lecture, CEC, UGC as of now has given a very simplified template. That they have defined that your video lecture should be 25 to 30 minutes. And you can even write in academic format, but I'll suggest not to write it in that way. You can change it, modify it. And as the number of quizzes is also defined, assignments are also defined, text materials are also defined. So the SWAYAM MOOCs are very well structured or standardized by a simplified template. So if you want to create a MOOC, you just read the guidelines, and it becomes very simple for you to do it. It's not any complex now. Now, SWAYAM is also doing the translation of their MOOCs into regional languages. This project is already has been initiated, and the courses are expected, are anticipated or envisaged to be converted to different regional languages, because this is one challenge in Indian context, that if we have MOOCs in English, it can't be accessed by students who have been studying in regional languages. So to provide the MOOCs in their own language is also the focus of MOOCs. So last part of the session is to give you some idea about MOOCs. What are the prominent platforms, MOOCs platforms, and what they do. So the biggest platform is Coursera. It was established in 2000 by Stanford University, and it has the highest number of registered learners as on date. What I want to share with you is they have a different business model. They are different from other platforms in a way that they follow blended learning model. Blended learning model means they go to an institute or a university and they ask them, what courses do you need on as MOOCs? We can provide you those courses. We can design those courses for you. And they can even arrange which faculty member you want from any university or top university to deliver that course. So they create those courses in a professional manner. They partner with institutions. And the institutions, they offer MOOCs designed by Coursera and opted by the institution in a blended learning mode. Means the students do this online course, which is mediated by a local teacher or instructor at the institute. So this kind of approach is very popular in the US. Most of their learners, Coursera learners, they are from the United States, because this model is very popular there. They have agreement with large number of institutions. They offer different, in addition to this, institute-specific courses. They also offer other academic, skill-oriented, certificate, professional, masters courses, and a different variety of courses. So these courses are paid courses. They are not free, but the fee is nominal. And they also allow, now they have introduced like monthly payment basis. If you are able to complete the course earlier, you end up paying less. If you take more time, probably you may need to pay more. A different type of possibilities are there to help the learner. They are also offering some regular master's courses. Then the other platform is edX, which is also very popular. It was founded by Harvard and MIT. And this is a not-for-profit platform. Even the edX platform source code is an open source code. In fact, IIT Mumbai, when the government wanted to establish a MOOCs platform, they experimented with edX open source and they wanted to customize this for Indian platform. So they have again professional courses, masters, micro masters, X series courses, and they also allow non-university partners. Non-university means like Microsoft also offers certain courses on their products, even technologies. IBM courses are there, and not necessarily from institutions. So some skill-oriented courses, etc., will also be there. The third important MOOCs platform is Udacity. So Udacity is a for-profit educational company, and their approach is different from the other two. They mostly focus on corporates or companies. So they enter into agreement with companies or corporates and then design courses as per the requirement of these corporates or companies. For example, how a corporate uses their courses, they will tell the employees that you complete this course from Udacity. After that, you become eligible for promotion or for working in that domain or transfer to that area. So this kind of, so their focus is more on vocational training and vocational courses, professional courses. So for profit, they annually have 70, 80 million US dollars of revenue. In India also, they are having an office. A lot of companies are using their courses for skill enhancement of their employees. So just to give an overview, by 2019 end, we had 100 million plus learners, and it started from 2012. This has been almost an exponential growth initially, but later also is almost 20 millions per year. So here some statistics about different platforms, what they offer. And these are full-fledged degree programs. Coursera, like MBA, MS, and offered by the leading institutions of the world. edX offers thus 10 degrees. And a Future Learn, they offer maximum number of degrees. This is UK-based platform, and their courses are really highly ranked and highly accredited within the UK. As good as the regular, even better than some of the regular courses offered by universities. SWAM also has this user base, and they target to have 1,000 courses. How MOOCs became popular during COVID can be understood from here. During April 2020, which was for us almost the beginning of COVID period. So the number of registrations for Coursera, edX, FutureLearn, you see, the registrations were even more than the total registrations of 2009. So whatever figure I showed you were were of the end of 2019. So in 2020, the MOOCs data is going to be radically different, very higher, much higher as compared to the previous data. This was geographical representation during COVID period. So highest increase in United States, 3 million registrations. In India also we had 1.5 million registrations, which was 800% increase in the registrations on MOOCs platform. So we also have a lot of learners now registering for MOOCs from these platforms. One of the reasons for this increase was that Coursera had converted their courses for free enrollment from April to September 2020. They had offered their platform to students and faculty members without any charge. So a lot of new registrations happened. Like we checked the data from Jamia Millia Islamia, our university, and we found that the faculty members and students, they have seen courses for more than 15,000 hours of content was seen from different MOOCs platforms this COVID. So a lot of focus on MOOCs during COVID. Another important aspect which I wanted to share with you is that normally we have a perception that MOOCs are good for technology or engineering courses or maybe business or some of the disciplines. It may be very difficult to implement MOOCs or create MOOCs, but it is not so. If we look at the MOOCs data of 2019, we find the distribution that technology is around 20% share, business is also equivalent 20% share, social sciences 11%, and arts 5%, mathematics 3%, humanities also 9%. In fact, engineering and humanities has more courses as compared to pure engineering stream, education and teaching. So all disciplines, they are making use of MOOCs and contributing to MOOCs revolution. In addition to academic courses or educational courses, MOOCs also offer different kind of possibilities. They are in fact source of life learning means. Like I found on edX, there are 3 or 4 courses by the name Afghan X, where they promote their culture or their poets or their writers through these courses. So they have designed MOOCs on Rumi. Rumi was a great poet, came from Afghanistan area. So the MOOCs are also being used to project, promote, or share your rich culture, tradition, history, and your renowned people with the world. During crises like COVID-19, not many courses have come up on COVID-19 training and other related areas. Like Ebola, when Ebola spread was there, one university has launched a course on Ebola related issues. So MOOCs offer a lot of new opportunities. The science of well-being is offered by Yale University, a life of happiness and fulfillment. Indian School of Business is offering this course. And the number of registrations you see, 350,000 people, learners are registered here. For this science of well-being, 2.8 million learners. So these are the innovative areas for personal development or self-improvement, healing with the arts, University of Florida. So a lot of possibilities. MOOCs are not restricted only for academic learning or institutional oriented courses. The next last thing which I wanted to share with you is where MOOCs are headed to. In fact, it is not MOOCs only, it is MOOCs and online learning or digital learning, whatever we may call it. Next thing which is going to transform our MOOCs or e-learning processes is artificial intelligence or artificial intelligence enabled education. Now, what is this going to be is right now, we have an online course or say we have a MOOC. It is designed, so the design of the content is fixed, is not adaptable. What I meant by adaptable is if a learner enrolls for the course and he finds it difficult to pursue, so he doesn't have any option. What he needs to do with that course, he will leave this course. Or some of the online courses, what they do, they have some different variations in the content. He can navigate the content, level 1, level 2, level 3. Those kind of offers are given to him. But in future, with the introduction or use of AI in academic learning, artificial intelligence enabled engines will monitor the interaction of the student in real time, and they can accordingly dynamically change the offering, the content of the course as per the requirement of the student. Suppose a student is not able to do certain topic properly and he finds difficulty, the engine or the platform will automatically lower the level of the content or start helping him or devise ways to teach that concept to him. So this is going to become more adaptive. In fact, China has already taken a lead in this area, and there is a company in China, Squirrel AI, which is working on use of artificial intelligence in education. They have already introduced the platform in their school education. So adaptive AI platforms, they deliver dynamic real-time content which is adjusted based on the performance and behavior of the learner, eliminating the need for pre-decided pathways or pre-decided content. So the content itself will dynamically adapt as per the needs of the learner. This is one aspect. Another aspect of AI is AI can also create a teacher, customized teacher as per the requirement of. You see, if we try to look at from other perspective, it means that AI can create a customized teacher for any requirement of a particular student. So different students can have different teachers, virtual teachers created by AI. So it can simulate or implement a teacher as per the need of the student. So where does it lead us? Means education tends to become more personalized, like content consumption in present scenario, media, TV, radio, all this is becoming personalized. Earlier it was being a mass delivery, now it is personalized. whatever you want, whenever you want, wherever you want. You can choose your content. Same way, education is expected to drive towards personalized education to each individual as per his requirement and needs. So even people say that this kind of delivery of online education, which is adaptive and personalized, is going to be better than classroom education. Why? Because in a class of 50, 60, or 100, the teacher or the instructor is not able to give that kind of personalized attention to an individual student, which our virtual teacher or AI teacher can give. So probably in 21st century, we'll see this kind of new change happening in our educational domain. So this Squirrel AI is very important concept developed by this company, and they have invested a lot of money into implementing AI into educational processes. There are few more slides. This is nothing but just to share with you that recently on 4th September, UGC has issued this circular. This is not a circular but gazette notification. So this has enabled offering of online courses. In fact, it encourages that the institution should offer online courses, not only courses, degree programs, complete UG and PG programs. So the earlier notifications of 17 and 18 related to distance education, online educations, they have been superseded by this, and it gives a lot of flexibility to the institutions to start their online degree programs, simplifies the way how to introduce those programs. Of course, in certain disciplines, these are not permitted now, but institutions have been given a lot of advantage. So the focus is in future, more online degree courses and programs should be offered by the institutions. So are about 50 plus UGC approved online degree programs being offered right now in India. So that's all what I wanted to share with you. So now I think we can have some QA and
Thank you, sir. It was a wonderful session, and I hope that all participants have developed a clear understanding of MOOCs with this session. I think there are a few questions I can see in the chat window. The first question we have is a participant would like to know about what are micro credentials.
micro credentials are specific degrees, a certificate kind of courses awarded by these platforms. Probably it is being offered by edX. It must have been on edX slide. So they offer three kind of courses. Micro credentials means are short duration courses. There are certain specializations. They will comprise of 4 or 5 courses. If you want to do a specialization in data analytics, it will have 4 courses, 4 MOOCs courses or 5 MOOCs courses. Micro credentials, one of that particular area, a small duration course, which is very highly specialized in that domain. You can go to the website of edX to find out more details about these micro credentials, master's credentials, professional certificates. Professional certificates are being offered by the industry partners, not educational partners. X courses, those are more by academic institutions. So, and suggest just go to edX and explore more.
Any other participant who would like to ask sir a question?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for your lecture. Sir, I wanted to ask, like the MOOC courses, what I have gone through the SWAYAM portal are all related to the theoretical courses. Do we have the MOOC courses with respect to the laboratory part also? Like we have virtual labs which have been recently launched by MHRD, but I didn't find it that that interactive, because I faced a lot of problem using that MHRD initiative of the virtual lab. So do we have that facility in the MOOC courses also?
Actually, that is an area where you can contribute if you have understood this problem. Practical oriented courses, most of the teachers, they avoid creating practical oriented online courses because you would need to think a lot how to teach a practical. For example, in our case, if I want to teach TV production, TV production happens in a television studio where the student has to operate camera, production control room, other equipment. So normally, a first reaction of a teacher would be that it can't be done or taught probably through online medium. But it's not so. It can become very interesting if you think of some innovative way. For example, I saw a course by IIT Chennai or Mumbai faculty on this production only, where the faculty member is not giving a lecture sitting on a table and reading from a teleprompter screen. She goes with the camera within the studio and explains the activities done with the equipment right there, operations, everything she is showing directly from the studio. Is not a lecture being delivered while sitting in a studio. So you can do a lot of innovation. Is in fact, such courses will be very, very interesting because there is a demand from students. They don't have access to such kind of content. So if you are able to create such course, you submit your proposal to the ministry or concerned nodal agency. I'm sure they'll love it. They'll approve it.
Okay,
There
sir.
is a
Thank
need
you.
for such courses.
Yes, sir. Because it's like laboratory. Every institute and every department cannot have the high-ended equipments. So
Yeah.
the institute which has the best,
Yeah.
if such courses
Yeah.
are available, then that can be very useful.
And you see, if you go to YouTube and
Yes.
they teach you a lot of dishes, how to make. I don't remember any dish right now, but say with biryani, how to make Hyderabadi biryani. If you search on YouTube, I'm sure you will find at least 2, 3 very good videos. By seeing those 3 videos, you will be able to cook that same kind of biryani after 1 or 2 attempts. So
Right.
that's just an example. So why we are teachers and we know our experiments, what we want to convey to the students. So why we should not be able to devise a way to explain the same thing through online media to the students? I think it.
Thank you, sir.
So we have another question by a participant. They would like to know, does MOOC have any common regulatory body in the world?
As of now, there is no regulatory body in the world. So all platforms, they are offering the MOOCs on their platforms. So the ownership or the platform designer who has conceived these platforms, for example, Coursera is by Stanford University. They are behind this platform. edX is by Harvard and MIT. They are behind this platform. SWAYAM, MHRD, UGC, they are behind this platform. So they are specific to the institutions or to the country. There is no single body to regulate it.
if we have to start something new, what do we have to do with this?
Sir, I have one question from my side, the last question for the session. With the introduction of National Education Policy and Academic Bank of Credits, what role would MOOCs and SWAYAM play in our higher education as such?
Actually, that will enable or rather assist adoption of MOOCs or online courses. You know, why this concept of the credit bank came. If you remember in 2016, UGC had notified a regulation that 20% of the credits of a regular UG or PG program a student can get from MOOCs courses offered on SWAYAM.
Yes, sir.
So that regulation was issued, but it was not implemented over so many years in spite of best efforts of MHRD, UGC. Nothing happened on ground. Why nothing happened? Because the institutions, the state universities, they have their own constitution, own statutes, own ordinances. The central university, each university is having an ordinance approved from the parliament. So if they have to offer a course, they need to get approval from AC, EC. If they have to accept credit of a course done by their student in another university, they again need to get it approved or make provision within their statutes or rules. Even if you see in physical way, if I am in Jamia and you are in DU, and a student does some course from DU on some credit, my university doesn't accept that credit. He accepts only the degree. But that credit transfer is not enabled in physical domain also. So thinking of implementation in online domain is very, very difficult because of these rules and individual regulations. So what the government has now thought that instead of all this asking them to amend their own constitutions or rules, it's better to have a central credit bank. Let the students do the courses. His credit will be deposited in that bank, and wherever he is studying, those credit will be transferred. The institute cannot refuse that credit bank. As the institute, I can refuse that. I will not accept the credit issued by University XYZ because of so many reasons. I may say I am in top 10 universities in the country. Why should I accept credit awarded by an university which doesn't figure even in 200? So many issues are there. But once it is in the credit bank and that is approved by the government, UGC and everybody, I don't have any means to refuse that. I am not going to recognize those credits which this student has earned and which are there in that credit bank. So it will become more simple. So I think with this credit bank implementation of MOOCs or adoption of MOOCs is going to
Yes, sir.
improve and simplify it.
Yes, sir. Sir, I can see another question from a participant.
Yes.
In NAC, there are marks for MOOC and NPTEL generated by college faculty. So generally, this is conducted by IIT, NIT, but not by regular colleges. So how to reduce these drawbacks?
What is I didn't get the first part in NAC.
Yes, sir. In NAC, there are marks for any of the MOOC courses that are attended by the college faculty, etc. So,
Yes.
and ma'am has a point that these courses, they are generally conducted by IITs and NITs. Normal colleges, they don't conduct such courses. So how to reduce this drawback? Or how to reduce this gap between MOOC course being conducted by IIT and not by any other college?
No, MOOCs being conducted by the marks means API points which
Yes,
we
sir.
get. Okay, so those points are for several activities. If you even create a single lecture,
Yes,
there are
sir.
points for that. If you write a lecture, you don't present it on the camera, there are points for it. If you create a course, there are points for it. So various activities related to e-content creation, even if you create a single lecture, you get points for that in your API. If you are attending courses, MOOCs courses, you get points, but it's not necessary that if you are from, say, humanities background, you do technical courses. IITs also have humanities courses. So the management institutions, they are also offering several courses which are related to humanities area. So it's not that IITs are doing only technical courses, they are doing other courses also. Majority of their courses will of course be technical, but you have a choice. You do courses from SWAYAM. There are 200, 300 courses right now on SWAYAM. Enroll for any course, do it, show it as your achievement and get your points for that. You need not to go to IIT. On SWAYAM, there are different kind of courses. So this is a perception that technical institutions or engineering institutions, they offer more MOOCs courses, but it is not so. I showed you in my slide that engineering humanities world over, the courses being offered in humanities are more than the courses offered in engineering. The share of technology MOOCs courses is equal to share of management MOOCs courses. So in our country, obviously the lead was taken by IITs. They are not doing the MOOCs right now. They have been doing it for past 8 or 10 years. They have been creating their video lectures. MOOCs are nothing but they use the e-resources. So they already had their video lectures recorded over last 8 or 10 years. Chalk and talk lectures were there. So that content was used and they have created MOOCs out of that. So other disciplines, they were not doing that much of e-content generation, either video or other formats. So obviously IITs have an advantage. This is not a government or policy forced division or handicap. This is more related to we have not been able to create video content for other disciplines over the years. Otherwise, we would have also been ready with a lot of e-content. For example, MCRC, till now we have created almost 1200 plus hours of video content over the years since we came into existence in 1988. And since then, we are creating content. Similarly, there are other institutions like Mysore, EMMRC, or Kolkata. They have created a lot of video content in many different subjects. So other disciplines are also doing well.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We are really grateful for you for this enlightening session on MOOC. It was actually a wonderful session because it gave us great insights into MOOC. We have only known MOOC as SWAYAM and NPTEL and the courses that are available over there. But their growing importance has been clarified by this session of yours. So thank you so much, sir. I'm very, very thankful for you for having this session on delivering this session on MOOC today. And with this, I also thank all my participants who have been part of the session today. The attendance has been taken during the session for all the participants. The assignment sheet for the session has already been circulated to all the participants. I request the participants to log in their learning into the attendance sheet for today's session. By Friday, you can submit us the completed attendance sheet for this session at fdp@bvicam.in. With this, we will close the curtains for today's session. Tomorrow, the next second session will begin sharp at 1:30. So by 1:15, all of you are requested to kindly join the room on time. I once again thank Kasim sir for having given his time for this wonderful session on MOOC. Huda sir is there with us. Sir,
So thank you so much, Professor Kasim.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Lord. You are always there for us.
Thank you. And Dr. Ritika, please ask participant if there are any query related to evaluation and assessment. Related to evaluation and assessment. Dr. Ritika, if there are any queries
sir, I
related
think it
to
was a bandwidth issue.
evaluation and assessment,
So, Huda sir, can I leave now? Can I close?
please.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Participants, if you have any query related to the rules which we have circulated for evaluation and assessment, you may unmute yourself and ask the query. We'll be happy to answer them.
Ma'am,
Ritika ma'am, regarding attendance.
by our team. Video session will be uploaded on YouTube, but it will take some time. So hopefully by tonight, the video session for today's session will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. I had already shared the link of our YouTube channel. It is there in the mail also. I will reshare it again on the group.
My request to all the participants will be, please subscribe to YouTube channel and put alert on at least till the period when you are attending this refresher course. After which, if you want, you can unsubscribe it. Because every time, otherwise you will keep on asking whether video has been uploaded or not. So subscribe it, put alert. The moment it will be uploaded, you will get the details. Hopefully, we undertake to upload all video recordings by the same day, maybe late evening. But entire process needs some time, like generating video, making it compatible, and then uploading on the YouTube. This process may take 3 to 4 hours. So sometime it is uploaded at 10 p.m. in the night, 11 p.m. in the night, 12 midnight, maybe 1 a.m. midnight, etc., etc. So if you put alerts, you need not to ask anyone. Immediately alert will come to you. That's my request to all of you. And all speaker, at least those from outside, not from our institution, are from our own institution.
The Kasim sir learning material I have already shared with the participants.
Yeah, we will be sharing the second itself so that you can go through the material in advance. But these are the external speakers and information. Attendance, I ask that every third with you so that you can check in which all sessions you are present and whether the present has been marked or not. Otherwise, you can put forward some proof which establish that yes, you are present in that session. Next is MCQ, and for MCQ the syllabus is, then MCQ, say for example today evening 8 p.m. the MCQ is being conducted. So till 6 p.m. today, whatever has been taught as per the schedule, that all is part of the syllabus. And rest all the details are written in the documents which we have shared.
I hope all queries have been answered.
So shall we close the session? Any participant confirm in the chat window?
Yes, Bhuvneshwari ma'am, thank you so much. Thank you, Shilpa ma'am. We meet tomorrow again at 1:15. Manish sir, I think we can close the session.
Yes.
Participants are confirming. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
so
you all the participants.